minute. Joining us now for all that and a little more is psychotherapist Dr. Robi Ludwig. Dr. Robi, always great to see you. So let's jump in with this global study. This is out of the University of Hong Kong. And we hear so much negativity, right, about being online or being online too much or you know, how much better off we might all be without social media. But researchers actually found that older people who do use the internet are generally more positive and they have fewer symptoms of depression, which is great news. Tell us what we learned here.
Yeah, so this study looked at multiple countries for 50-year-old people and up. And what they discovered is people who were proactive about their life in terms of reaching out to friends, creating vacation plans, searching for communities, it really helped them to feel connected and excited about their lives. And perhaps this is because these are people who are just really interested in connecting and there's no barrier, there's no distance barrier when it comes to connecting via the internet. It was a very positive study, and unlike things we've heard about the younger generation using social media.
Is some good news there, and we love when we can pull out a little bit of good news on something. This next survey, it's about attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, of course, ADHD. That impacts millions of Americans, and researchers found that during busy periods, the symptoms are milder. What can people with ADHD take away from that?
So this was a really interesting study that looked at a group of people over many years. And what they discovered is when they were busier in a structured environment where they needed to stay on task, they tended to have milder symptoms of ADHD. And perhaps this is because the structure helped them to pay attention better. And also when you're more interested in a subject, just like all of us, it's easier to pay attention and to focus. For example, when people were doing chores, they didn't find that kind of busy so interesting. And the other piece was exercise and sport. So the more somebody is involved in exercising and something that they're interested in a structured way, it's positive in terms of reducing symptoms of ADHD.
All right, some good news there. Okay, finally, this one is such a talker. I've actually done a story on this before, which I pitched because I love location sharing apps. I've got a bunch of friends on Find My Friends. I feel like it's like my little Sims. I'm just making sure all my friends make it home. This is where people keep track of friends and family. You essentially have their location just in an app on your phone. But some people feel like maybe the practice has gone too far. There was just a Washington Post article saying it's making us miserable. How can we set boundaries even when it's hard? And what's your take on this? I mean, obviously, there's a line where I think it can, like anything, it can get unhealthy. But what do you make of this?
Yeah. Well, Savannah, for someone like you who really enjoys it, that's great. But just because we can do something doesn't mean that we should do it. And for many people, they feel like they're on an electronic leash where they're intruded upon and they don't have the level of autonomy that they like to have. And the studies show that these kinds of apps, especially in intimate relationships, don't necessarily help with communication, where you can say to your partner or friends, hey, this is where I'm going to be at. If you need to get in touch with me, I'll text you, I'll show you a picture, because there are different ways to stay in touch. But I think it's really important for people to know that they can say no. They can even quote a study and say it's not as healthy as it seems, or do it on a specific basis. When you're going on a trip and you want somebody to know where you are, you can turn it on for those reasons.
Yeah, and just let's not get into a fight if you tell somebody, you know what, I don't want to follow you anymore. Dr. Robi, great to see you as always. Thank you.